Necromancy. Since ancient times, humans have sought to communicate with the dead. Their practices held such sinister power that practitioners claimed to be opening a gateway to the afterlife. But what they did there wasn't merely speaking to the dead, it was a practice full of risks. During the Middle Ages, this dark magic was branded as witchcraft and forbidden sorcery, condemned by the church and persecuted as an act of blasphemy. Yet necromancers never stopped. In secret, they perfected rituals using magical tools like talismans, ritual swords, and enchanted wands. These weren't simple tools. They were exorbitantly expensive objects, crafted with mysterious technology for their time. The symbols carved into them and the materials they were made from were said to possess unique properties, capable of shielding against forces beyond human comprehension. The spells, recited in Latin or other ancient languages, were seen as magical keys able to open portals to other realms, but this power came at a price. Summoning the wrong spirit could spell total disaster. Every word spoken brought them closer to macabre acts like seeking counsel from deceased ancestors, invoking spirits for revenge, cursing enemies, or the most dangerous ritual of all, attempting to restore life to the dead. Yet the most perverse and disturbing practice was something even ancient necromancers would have deemed too dangerous. We're talking about the Black Mass, a ritual so twisted it became the church's obsession to eradicate it. The Black Mass was a dark act that seemed to mock all things sacred, but it hides stories so unsettling they could freeze your blood. It all begins in the Middle Ages, a time of intense religious fervor and paranoia towards heresy. This ritual, which spread like a shadow across Europe, took shape as a dark, perverse reflection of the Christian Mass. A key figure in this history is the infamous French priest Guibourg. In the 15th century, Guibourg was accused of performing these ceremonies for Madame de Montespan, the mistress of King Louis XIV, to secure her influence over the monarch. But the details of these rituals are what truly shock. Imagine an altar not adorned with flowers or sacred symbols, but covered in blood, excrement, or even the naked body of a woman. This grotesque altar became the center of a ceremony where Christian prayers were desecrated, recited backward, or replaced with invocations to demonic forces. The sacred host, if they obtained it, was treated in the most sacrilegious ways, spat upon, or used in sexual acts. All this under the glow of black candles, with an inverted cross presiding over the scene. The purpose of these rituals wasn't just to scandalize. They sought supernatural power at any cost, but this power came at a price. Many believed participants sold their souls, dooming themselves to an eternity of suffering. And beware, during the Inquisition and witch hunts, even a mere accusation of taking part in a black mass could lead to unimaginable torture and horrific executions, only deepening the mystery and terror around these rituals. The church, alongside secular authorities, condemned the black mass as one of the most atrocious acts ever committed. Yet the most unsettling part, despite centuries of persecution, echoes of the Black Mass still resonate today, but surely not as loudly as the dark ritual that marked an entire generation's fate, the voodoo doll ritual. Would you believe an object as small as a doll could hold the power to alter lives? What seems like a mere tool of superstition is actually a channel of spiritual energy, deeply rooted in West African spirituality and Haitian culture. But here's the twist. Voodoo dolls weren't always associated with evil. Made from fabric or other materials, these dolls initially served a positive purpose, acting as a direct link to the person one wished to influence. They were used for healing, protection, and strengthening romantic bonds. But over time, their purpose twisted, increasingly employed to inflict harm. What began as a means to seek harmony and spiritual connection was corrupted into a tool for curses and revenge. The focus on channeling energy and achieving peace was stripped away, pushing the ritual to extremes, transforming it into a weapon to curse, harm, and devastate lives. In Western cultures, voodoo has often been demonized, and during the colonial era, European colonizers frequently suppressed African-origin spiritual practices as a way to control enslaved populations and erase their cultural identities. But what if you could summon a demon right now? Would you dare to invoke one of these dark beings with just a chalk circle and a few magical words? It sounds like something from a movie, but the history of the Goetia ritual is steeped in mystery and danger. Legend says King Solomon, the wisest man in history, used this magic to build the Temple of Jerusalem. Yes, by summoning demons to construct a building. But of course, it's never that simple, because every demon has its own agenda. Due to the immense complexity of these rituals, Goetia is both revered and feared for its power. The concept of summoning and commanding spirits dates back to the Hellenistic magic of Egypt, where spells and invocations were used to call upon gods, demons, and spirits for the darkest purposes. The Ars Goetia claims to teach how to summon these very demons using a system of sigils, incantations, and ritual tools. The intricate ritual process involves 5 key steps. 1. Draw a protective circle inscribed with divine names, along with a nearby triangle to mark where the summoned demon will appear. 2. Each demon in the Ars Goetia has a unique sigil, which the magician must draw to focus the invocation. 3. The magician invokes divine authority to recite a specific incantation, commanding the demon to manifest within the triangle. 4. Carefully negotiate with the demon, outlining the terms of any pact. And least but not less, 5. Once the task is complete, perform banishing rituals to safely dismiss the demon. Even so, the summoned demon might turn against the magician. In this unfortunate case, the consequences range from physical harm and mental distress to spiritual decay. Throughout history, the Ars Goetia has been practiced by medieval magicians, alchemists, Renaissance scholars, and occultists. It was notable figures such as Aleister Crowley and Samuel Liddell MacGregor who brought it into the modern era of occultism, escaping the constant persecution of the Catholic Church. The ritual of the Headless One, one of the most enigmatic and powerful rites in Western occultism. Its origins trace back to the Greek magical papyri, a collection of ancient esoteric texts from Greco-Roman Egypt, 2nd century BCE to 5th century CE. The ritual was designed to invoke the Headless One, a mysterious, transcendent entity beyond ordinary human understanding. Originally, it appeared as a form of exorcism to drive out evil spirits, but over time, occult traditions like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley's Thelema reinterpreted it for a far more ambitious goal, summoning the Holy Guardian Angel, a key figure in achieving spiritual enlightenment. Here's how it unfolds. The ritual begins ominously, with the magician standing inside a protective magic circle, reciting a potent invocation to the Headless One, followed by a series of divine names and attributes. Though texts vary, they almost always mention light and fire, symbols of a transcendent force beyond the physical. But this is where things grow perilous. In a bold act, the magician asserts dominion over the spirit realm, demanding that entities submit to their will. The Headless One, unbound by human ego or reason, represents a connection to the divine and infinite. By identifying with it, the magician seeks to transcend their ordinary self and merge with a higher divine nature. The Witches Sabbath. If we're talking about cunning, witches take the crown with this ritual. Imagine a secret gathering under the moonlight, where witches and sorcerers allegedly convene to worship the devil. During the medieval witch hunts, the Sabbath became a terrifying concept, a blasphemous inversion of Christian rites. Stories describe deadly potions, orgies led by the devil himself, who supposedly took unsettling forms. These stories fueled the mystery and served as kindling for the witch trials that justified brutal torture and executions. But here's the twist. The Sabbath was largely a product of collective imagination, not actual practice. It was a mix of superstition and paranoia, so intense that anyone sitting calmly on their front porch could end up accused of witchcraft. In fact, at the time, you could be sentenced to the stake for something as trivial as owning a black cat or preparing herbal remedies. But hey, this probably won't even sound absurd to you if you've seen the channel's video on 10 reasons you'd be considered a witch in the Middle Ages. Anyway, let's get back to the chaos magic. If traditional magic sounds complicated and full of rules, chaos magic is its rebellious counterpart. No dogmas, just imagination. No strict traditions, only your beliefs as tools to manifest desires. A cornerstone of this practice is sigils, enigmatic symbols that look like they're ripped from an alchemy book. The concept was developed by Ulston Osman Spare, an eccentric artist who believed the conscious mind is the greatest enemy of desire. But how does this actually work? Interestingly, Spare's method involved taking a statement of intent, like, "I will find success," and breaking it down into its consonant letters. Then, those letters would be combined artistically and abstracted into a unique symbol or drawing. The result? A sigil that contains your desire, but in a form no longer recognizable as regular language. That's crucial, because it turns the sigil into a form of communication with the subconscious mind, free from the interference of the rational conscious mind. By bypassing the conscious filter, once the sigil was created, it would be charged with energy through focused meditation or ritual, and then launched into the unconscious. After that, you had to forget it completely. Spare believed that by letting the subconscious work without conscious interference, your desires would naturally find their way into reality. But here's the most intriguing part. Sigils challenge the very idea of a reality shaped by God. By distorting and reprogramming your will, they aim to manipulate reality itself. And that's why many religions condemn their use, considering them spiritually corrupting and dangerously powerful. The ceremony of Baphomet, the enigmatic figure with a goat's head, wings, and a body that blends masculine masculine and feminine traits, Baphomet has been the subject of fear, fascination, and misunderstanding for centuries. Though often linked to Satanism, its meaning goes far beyond what it seems. In esoteric traditions, Baphomet represents the union of opposites, light and dark, spirit and matter. Perfect balance. The ceremony of Baphomet is less about devil worship and more a ritual of introspection and personal transformation. Participants, surrounded by candles, sigils, and symbolic altars, recite invocations meant to invoke the essence of Baphomet, the quest for knowledge, balance, and enlightenment. It's an experience that blends the spiritual with the philosophical, more profound than sinister. Still, its symbolism remains highly controversial. Often misinterpreted as demonic, Baphomet has been condemned by many traditional religions as blasphemous. But for those who understand its true meaning, thanks to videos like this one, it represents something much deeper. The power to transcend dualities and find harmony in contradiction. And if there's one thing full of contradictions, it's the harsh life of a medieval knight. Check it out in this video.